This is vrising, an open-world survival game created by Unlock Studios, the developers behind Bloodline Champions, Battlerite, and yeah. In this game, you play as John vrising and must defeat Dracula to reclaim your throne as the rightful ruler of the land. You wake up and start out with nothing but a basic attack and a few abilities. After making your way past a couple of skeletons, you soon enter the world of Vardran. Like any other survival game, your goal is to get stronger and build your own base. This is especially important in vrising, since there are day and night cycles, and you know, vampires can't be out in the sun for too long. Much like Stunlock's other games, combat is a big focus, and many mechanics and design have been brought forward to vrising. There are a total of 11 different weapon types with the release of 1.0, each with their own unique abilities and strengths. Swords are lightweight and mobile, used for cutting plants and vegetation. Axes are good at short rapid combos and can cut down trees. The mace is a slow but heavy weapon and can break rocks and minerals. And the Reaper is a weapon only used for its second ability and nothing else. You can carry any number of weapons and swap between them as you like, opening up different builds and playstyles, which is useful in PvE and PvP. Here are some basic combos of the different weapons. Bosses in vrising are the most basic form of progression. There is a huge list of bosses, which you can see right from the menu. Each boss has their own level, which serves as an indicator to how challenging they are relative to your level. Typically, a few higher levels will be ideal for a fun challenging fight, but you probably shouldn't take it too far and spend hours fighting the same boss over and over again. This time, this is the one. Defeating bosses can help you unlock new weapon types, spells, buildings, and vampire abilities, which can help you progress and get stronger. Boss fights are pretty unique in vrising, and each one has a theme or mechanic based around it. You have Beatrice the Tailor, who doesn't attack you and instead runs away, aggroing every enemy in existence. That is unless you're playing on Brutal. You have the Putrid Rat, which is seemingly harmless until you realize the consequences of your actions. You have Jade from Battlerite, who is apparently now a vampire hunter. She even plays like your average teammate.
One shot, one kill.
You have Tristan, who is way over level and wanders the starting area, farming newcomers. Along with many more. The world of vrising feels alive with many enemies and bosses roaming around in different locations all across the map. Fights can start and end without your presence, which commonly happens when different creatures and factions meet. This makes random encounters more interesting, and they can often be used to your advantage.
What the dog doing?
As a vampire, you may be powerful, but there are also things to look out for. The sun is not one of them. As you venture into new areas, the environment changes to be more hostile too. Farms located in Dunley farmlands have valuable items, which makes it an easy target for loot. Except for one problem: garlic, a vampire's greatest weakness. Garlic exposure is a stacking debuff that will increase the damage taken, while reducing damage dealt, along with making you more easily detected. Fire is also a huge trend, and commonly used by enemy groups that patrol the area to make your life more difficult and painful. Additionally, vampires are also weak to handling silver without proper gear, which will cause them to suffer damage over time. The same goes for when entering any holy place. Eventually, you will be able to craft gear and potions that mitigate these effects, which is the game's way of incentivizing the player to plan and prepare, instead of brute forcing your way through the game. Spells make up a huge part of combat, with a total of 6 different spell schools in this game. There are 4 available spell slots, two of which are for general spells, one is for movement, and the last is an ultimate ability. A good portion of these spells are largely inspired from Battlerite abilities, which is always nice to see. Each magic type has their own unique effects. Blood magic inflicts leech, and is focused on lifesteal, which is great for survival. Chaos magic inflicts ignite on enemies, which deals damage over time and makes for an offensive playstyle. Unholy magic creates minions that attack for you, so you can easily fight from a distance. Illusion magic weakens your enemies and enables free cooldowns for your spells. Frost magic has a lot of crowd control, movement reduction, and bullshit. And lastly, Storm magic generally has good mobility and repositioning tools. The different magic types can be mixed and customized to your own playstyle, in addition to the weapons in the game. There are even jewels to unlock, which are essentially modifiers for the spells, and can heavily change the effects of a skill. Some of these jewels are just stat boosts, but others can grant additional effects, which adds a whole new layer of depth and strategy. This is once again similar to the rite system from Battlerite, where you are able to choose up to 5 rites at the beginning of a match that drastically affects the skill sets of your character. Vampires also gain a multitude of special abilities throughout the game. You gain several shape-shifting abilities, like becoming a wolf to gain increased movement, a rat to hide and sneak past enemies, and a bear, which seems pretty useless at first, until you discover the Iron Caves. You can also shapeshift into a human to blend in with them and enter their settlements, to purchase items and recipes from them. There is also the blood drinking mechanic, which is needed for survival, along with something even more unique.
Today's subject is slavery.
You can convert humans you come across and make them into your own servants. You can imprison them and take their blood, useful for when you need temporary buffs, or you can make them hunt and gather materials for you. The system is fairly simple at the moment, but the developers have stated potential to further expand this system, as mentioned in an interview. Building your own base is a core part of survival games, and the developers have clearly spent a lot of effort into fine-tuning it for the base building enjoyers out there. The wide customizability options, in addition to the game's aesthetic and lighting, allows for the creation of some really grand castles spanning multiple floors high. In fact, you used to only be able to build up to a single floor, due to limitations with the game's camera and perspective. However, after many requests from players, the developers mentioned that they will look into it in the future update, and about a year later, it was a feature implemented in the Gloomrot update. Aside from purely aesthetics, there's a more functional purpose to building your castle, and that is to speed up and optimize the crafting of your gear and materials. By placing your structures in a fully roofed castle room, the process of production will speed up by 25%. In addition, if placed in a proper room with the corresponding flooring, the resources consumed will be 25% less, which can save you a significant amount of grinding. The 1.0 update made major changes to the game, with the addition of Dracula and his Legion, which are mostly endgame content. Major quality of life changes were also made, including dedicated storage for different material types, controller support, and also inclusion of in-game achievements. Crafting from storage is still not a thing, unfortunately, which is understandable for PvP, but could definitely be a consideration for PvE. On the matter of PvE, if you are a solo player, I would recommend disabling teleport down items when you create your server. It's not very fun travelling halfway across the map to reach your base, just because you are carrying 20 iron ores in your bag. Other than that, PvE is excellent and plenty of fun, with even the option of brutal difficulty, that gives bosses additional skill sets for a completely new challenging fight. Aside from additional quality of life changes, I don't see how this game could get any better.
Vampire, your hate is me. Set aside my axe.
Castlevania arrives in Update 1.0, featuring Simon Belmont and additional cosmetics for gears and decorations for your castle. Everything is well done from the fight to the music, which is incorporated seamlessly into the world. Considering the amount of stuff you get, it's a great way to look fashionable and support the devs at the same time. Overall, Vrising is a great game that combines the best aspects of survival, open world, and action all into one single game. The game seems to be getting great support from the developers and looks to be still getting updates and fixes for the time being. Stunlock Studios have shown that they are clearly capable of making good games, and maybe one day, we will see Battlerite in all of its glory again.